All right. I said it. Okay. Episode 70. Whatever. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. If I pay to watch a giant lizard hit a giant monkey, I'm going to watch a giant lizard hit a giant monkey. I'm not expecting fucking Citizen Kane over here, which
Yeah,
doesn't even
exactly.
have a cane in it. So I don't know why they call it that. Honestly, I don't understand why do people say Citizen Kane? People say it's super boring now, but I'm like, the film it was filmed in 1941, so
You
we'll
say
see what
Citizen
the
Kane, all I can think of is like Casablanca for some reason. Like it's automatically like
the
changing
classic
what movie you're
movies.
talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the classic movies, I guess, and I guess because Orson Welles did it, but oh no, did
Who's
Orson Welles?
Welles?
Yeah, directed by Orson Welles and stars Orson Welles. It's in black and white, of course.
I
1941.
always find that so weird. Like you're the director or something, right? You're charged with creating this thing, and then like you're like, huh? You know who'd be the perfect actor for this person?
Me,
Me.
honestly, it's like wait. So, but before we get into that, so guys, stick around. We've got Mark Normand interviewing later on. So, yeah, stick around for that, and we'll see how that interview goes. We got a couple of questions, and it was all very last minute. So, stick around for that after these messages. But yeah, for Citizen Kane, I was gonna say it's like it's always those kinds of people who are like you'll see for example, it's like directed by Adam Sandler, and then it's Adam Sandler as like a schlub, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, so what do you do for a living?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a janitor," and he's like, "Oh, what's your wife? What does she do for a living?" "Oh, she's a supermodel," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and it's like Adam Sandler just directed this movie just for the sole reason
Yeah.
of making out with someone that he's wanted
That's hot
to.
as fuck.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you never see them having like average or even lower than average
Yeah.
people unless it's like as a joke, like in like, Jack and Jill when they're ugly on purpose or whatever and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's like
No.
Rob
I mean,
Schneider.
some Rough Diamonds or whatever the fuck that movie was called, his
Diamond in the
most
Rough?
recent one.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut
Rough
Gems. That
Diamonds.
one.
That movie is so fucking good. That movie's
Yeah,
so
that one's a bit
fucking
different.
good.
That one's ooh.
I was
That
gonna
one's so
say
good.
he said that if he didn't get the Oscar for that one, he was gonna make like the worst movie ever after that, and then he made Hubie's Halloween after that. And
It's a terrible movie.
Hubie Halloween is fucking awful, but it was so funny. Like I could not stop laughing because I'm retarded, and so he'd put he'd be like, "Oh, excuse me," and I'd be like, "That's fucking comedy gold. Do it again," you know?
10 out of 10. Give him another Oscar.
Exactly. Like it's funny because it's like okay,
Oh, dude, that would have been the perfect like fuck you moment to Adam Sandler if he got an Oscar for the shittiest movie and didn't get one for a great movie.
he would never, because it's like everyone was talking about it like, oh, okay, like it was a shitty movie, blah blah blah. It's got like low things, but the audience reviews are very positive because obviously everyone's taking it with a grain
Yeah.
of salt and going like, oh, this is so dumb, but it's hilarious, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's if you go into it thinking this is gonna be ridiculous, but I'm gonna enjoy it, then you're gonna enjoy it. But when people are going, so it appears that the acting was subpar because when he displayed a bit of flatulence, the flatulence was not at all synced up with how his face was going. So I wasn't immersed immediately with that kind of flatulence. I'll give this a 5 out of 10. You're like, honestly, I don't know. He's
Dude.
just having fun with his friends.
So like there's a reason why I kind of don't like a lot of like critic ratings, like especially like on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. It's like don't take the fun out of movies that would otherwise be good because they're bad. It's like, yes, they're bad. That's the point.
Honestly, but
I think I have a coffee problem.
why do you have a coffee problem? 3 cups? Yeah. And I have
Three
a piss
venti
jar
30 ounce
problem,
cups.
okay? I can't lift the piss jugs, but they're there and you know it.
What?
The piss jugs. But anyways, back to Citizen Kane. I don't know why. Okay, so let's see.
Oh, that actually hurt. I was not expecting that.
Citizen Kane. Let's see.
Anyways.
Storyline. A group of reporters are trying to decipher the last word ever spoken by Charles Foster Kane, the millionaire newspaper tycoon. Rosebud.
Initially said it was going to be like
What's the
just,
significance of Rosebud? I don't
I
understand.
don't know. Let's see.
3 out of 10 is too old, doesn't use modern tech.
The picture was Wells' first feature film, considered by many critics and filmmakers to be the greatest film ever made. Why? All right. I guess we'll watch. Should we watch it and give Citizen Kane a review?
Let's do it.
Because-
Let's do it.
I've never seen it.
I've
Me
never
neither.
seen
Me
it
neither.
either.
We can all
Me
go
neither.
in. Okay,
No one's seen it yet.
but remember, go.
You know,
in-
I'm pretty sure no one's seen that movie. Everyone just pretends like they read like the synopsis, and everyone just pretends.
Exactly. Citizen Kane, the Orson Welles movie. I loved it. Me too. That Citizen and that and
That
Kane.
Rosebud.
Yeah, Rosebud. My God.
It's,
Okay.
You know, it's so ingenious when that one person said Rosebud. Perfect filmmaking.
And there was a Mohican.
Let's guess like what it's about.
Citizen Kane. Okay.
You just read the synopsis.
Yeah.
Well,
'cause
like,
that-
I,
I was about to read the actual plot, but I was like, no. No spoilers.
okay.
it'd be funnier if we just guessed and then got it completely wrong.
Yeah, that's
All right.
true. That's true.
So, a group of reporters are trying to decipher the last word ever spoken by Charles Foster Kane, the millionaire newspaper tycoon Rosebud. So, who is Rosebud? Is that his drug dealer? Is that his mistress? Is that his wife?
Okay, because we know about Harvey Weinstein, I'm gonna say
Harvey Weinstein. How far back does it go?
he goes back all the way to the beginning, to the center of like Hollywood. So I'm gonna say that Rosebud is like his little girl like slave servant that he keeps in the basement, kind of like in the vein of Lolita, the book. And right now he's just outing himself because he can no longer get in trouble because he's just dying. And so since no one ever finds out what Rosebud means, he dies keeping all of his glory and never gets caught.
I like that one. Okay, so, a group of reporters. Let's see. Rosebud is who would it be?
Quickly looks up the
I
plot.
know. Honestly, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know, but yeah, it's just a murder mystery. I mean, I guess because it's the first murder mystery or whatever. There's I don't know.
Okay.
Is it?
Is there
I
gonna be a
thought
plot
Agatha
twist or something?
Christie.
Huh?
Isn't Agatha Christie before like murder mystery novels been around?
They've
Yeah, but
probably
I'm
always
like,
been around.
I don't know.
That's probably the biggest of all, like out of all of them, though.
Yeah, and I was gonna say she's like one of the biggest, and she's not even like the first.
No, I meant like Citizen Kane.
Oh, Citizen Kane.
Okay. Because it was the reason it's so like culturally important or whatever is because of course Orson Welles, he was already a phenomenon on radio and stage. He made the cover of Time magazine at the age of 23. So he was
shit.
already like directing and writing and stuff like that. And I mean, War of the Worlds, that shit was crazy for that time, you know? War of the Worlds. And then he made people think it was actually real. Like people killed themselves.
You know, that there's actually evidence saying that it didn't happen that way. That a lot of those things were sensationalized by the newspaper later, like the following day, in order to discredit the radio. And
Really?
the thing was that his broadcast of War of the Worlds happened around the same time as one of the most popular radio shows at the time. So it's very unlikely that many people who actually listened to radio shows would have tuned into his War of the Worlds thing in the first place. So it was much more akin to like a TV show that comes on, or like a movie that randomly comes on the TV, you know, during when there's like a primetime show. It's like, yeah, it's not going to get a lot of viewers. Yeah, so it's very unlikely that he actually inspired a lot of fear in like, you know, to rampage in the streets and all of that.
Yes, but
Like there was like maybe one or two proven accounts of like people actually believing it, and they called in to like the police station and stuff, but they were like, no, nothing's going on.
I guess. But
Let's talk about murder mysteries.
oh wait, I was actually gonna say, so Orson Welles, he adapted it from H.G. Wells' novel, The War of the Worlds, right?
No relation.
Exactly, no relation. His name is Herbert George Wells, right? H.G. Wells, who's like one of the fathers of science fiction. And Orson Welles' name is George Orson Welles. Isn't that hilarious? And I mean, they were alive at the same time too, because H.G. Wells died in 1946, but Orson Welles publicized that in 1938, doing the radio thing in 1938. So he was alive. They knew each other. That's crazy, and it's funny. It's like no relation, because even the Wells is spelled a different way. Yeah,
It's hard to imagine that. That's my granddad's. That's like when my granddad was in his prime time.
A long time ago. And it's funny because so it says The War of the Worlds, it's an episode of the American radio drama anthology series, The Mercury Theater on the Air. So I'm assuming, I guess they did So, okay. The episode became famous for allegedly causing panic among its listening audience, though the scale of panic is disputed as the program had relatively few listeners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people even knew, because if it's like, oh, Mercury Theater on the air, and they're like, you know, it said the theme music and an announcement at the evening show was an adaptation of the War of the Worlds. So, it's like,
Just to make it more realistic for the medium in which it was happening in.
oh, it's funny though, but because it says for about the next 20 minutes, the broadcast was presented as a typical evening of radio programming, being interrupted by a series of news bulletins. The first few news flashes occurs during a presentation of live music, describe a series of odd explosions observed on Mars, and then yes, the falling on the farm, and then like Martians emerge from a cylinder, attack using a heat ray. Panic reporter at the scene describes you until his audio feed abruptly goes dead. I mean, honestly, let me see. Martian cylinders have landed all over the world as he describes desperate New Yorkers fleeing and dropping like flies. Imagine hearing that. Let me see, because...
Dude, you know what's so insane? How like our depiction of aliens have changed like over the course of just like even American history. Like those are cylinders.
I was gonna say cylinders, but also remember they started out being alien, but as time went on, they became more humanoid, and we just started depicting them as humanoid.
They also started getting more violent. Like early depictions of aliens treated them as like, oh, faraway helpers coming to save the human race and proliferate with us and all that other crap. And now they're like, oh, they're alien invaders coming here to take your women and destroy your landscape and shit.
Do you guys remember when those like weird things were like flying over LA, like those weird little like things that would leave like trails and shit? You know what I'm talking about?
Chemtrails the fighting.
No, not chemtrails. It
Just
was
go
like,
into full on conspiracy theory.
no, it was like I don't know. They would leave like sound wave kind of looking things, but it was super weird. Look it up. It happened like 2 years ago, right? I was here training in the morning, like working out in the morning,
2 years
and
ago.
I seen one. Yeah, like 2 years ago. And I
Wait, then how are you in the military base? 2 years ago.
No. I seen one like 2 years ago, and I seen one like last week.
Bro.
Here.
I was literally about to say the Pentagon said a video released of pyramid-shaped UFOs is authentic, and this was 2 weeks ago. Triangular objects flying off the coast of San Diego.
Yeah. But supposedly they tried to spell it as like military testing rockets and shit. Like, I don't know.
It's usually military testing rockets.
But
to be
it
honest.
looks so fucking weird. And it was moving so freaking like
Dude, someone who does
super
great videos on like all those like extraterrestrial shits is this channel called Lemino.
Mm-hmm.
He does great like 30-minute like video essays on like random topics like the apocalypse or like the universal S. You know what that one is? With like 3 lines.
Oh yeah, I've seen
or
that.
the 6 lines and like that. And he goes through all the history to see where it started. But like he does one on like the Battle of Los Angeles where like people thought there were like aliens and stuff. And like he does another one on like the recent UFO sightings from like that camera and shit. Shit's pretty interesting. Like I have that shit on repeat sometimes.
All right, I'm gonna send you guys a video about it.
Ooh.
Let's see. Copy.
First-hand research.
Hell yeah. All right, it's in the chat.
Oh, what the fuck?
See what's going on?
One of my friends just sent me a fucking Joey Wheeler Animal Crossing thing.
Guys, this is the end.
You see that thing?
North
I seen one of those right here.
Where is it?
What the fuck?
I seen that here. It wasn't that big, but yeah, I seen that shit.
That's crazy. Well, did Walter really see a UFO? I mean, technically you did see a UFO because all it means is unidentified flying object. It doesn't mean aliens. It's just you don't know what it is. So
Yes, sir.
that's crazy. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think it's weird looking,
Okay.
right?
I'm glad that the quality of the video gets better because I'm like, dude, with a lot of like UFO sightings nowadays, it's like everyone carries a high definition camera inside of their pocket, and for some reason, everything looks like a 2002 240p video of like Carlos Mencia fucking like in the sky. Like, come on,
fighting Joe Rogan and shit.
yeah, exactly. Like every film, every like video of UFOs looks like that, and it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Why you have a high definition camera? How is it so hard to just get a clean image?
I was gonna say
It's like,
that's the other thing. It's like, why is it that since we've gotten more and more cameras, all of a sudden everything starts going down? Like you don't hear like, oh, we saw Bigfoot or we saw aliens right away, or we saw like the Sasquatch or we saw Yetis or like all the paranormal stuff. Like you can say as much as you want, oh, but they're still out there. But it's like, then why have there been less pictures?
yeah.
But
Like we went from like seeing Jesus and burning bushes to seeing Jesus on toast. It's like
exactly.
Like, really? So what about all that other stuff y'all supposedly saw? The UFOs, the Loch Ness monster. Now that there's high definition cameras.
Exactly. Like if you're doing all this research, all of a sudden everything disappears when you have the most cameras there's ever been in history. Like, come on.
There's an unprecedented surveillance system in like every single person's pocket, and we can't catch one good photograph of individuals with your high definition camera.
Hold on.
That like can do 3D. Dude, my phone can do like with a picture, it can scan a document and like have a high quality image so I can reproduce it as part of my job. And you're telling me that we can't get, one moderately good snapshot of a UFO?
Exactly.
Like,
let me get to my point. So I seen this thing right in the sky, and then my thing was like, okay. So I seen this thing in the sky, right? And I tell people, I'm like, hey, look at that shit. It's fucking weird, right? And everybody's like two people are like, oh, that is fucking weird. And the drill sergeant is just like, all right, keep exercising. Like he didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh.
How many times has he seen shit down there?
Yeah.
You're in
Probably
Virginia,
not.
you said, right?
Yeah, Virginia right now. But like my thing is like,
I had
like
a gut of them in Nam.
let's say like they confirm it. UFO's real. They visited us. How fast do you think we would be like, all right, whatever?
Like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like
News
what
cycle
happened
moves by
when
too fast.
everyone thought that we found aliens like last year with those like dots on like the cameras from the military planes. Like everyone forgot about it within like a week. So if like I would assume like extrapolating, if we found out like an actual alien landed in Times Square and came out and was like, hey, you fuckers.
Yeah, that's way more like crazy than fucking just seeing like a little light in the sky. You know what I mean?
It would be like a month maybe, and then we'd get over it.
Yeah.
It become part of natural life. Like we've been so beaten down, especially in this last year, and just in general, kind of, that it's like
shit.
an alien invasion. Like it would have to be an alien invasion for people for people to care for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they just landed and were like, "Hey, y'all, we exist," I doubt anyone would really care for very long. It's like, oh well, you're not important to our lifestyle. So
Exactly.
like the aliens existing aren't gonna help me buy food at a supermarket. Like
That's true.
no one's gonna care.
It's like, bring me pictures of aliens, and it's like, no one's gonna pay for that.
Are you gonna turn us all into Elon Musk's with like with our dads owning emerald mines in Africa? No, we don't care then.
Honestly.
The only person that would like give a shit is like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then that would be
yeah.
All the
Conspiracy
hip
theories.
scientists.
David Icke would be all over that shit. He'd be like, "You see, there are lizard people running the world."
goddamn Joe Rogan fucking lose his fucking mind.
Yeah, all like the conspiracy theories would be like, "See, vindication," and we're like, "No, that still doesn't prove what you said is true." And then everyone just forgets about it. And then in 30 years, some like three retards are gonna make a podcast, be like, "Hey, remember that time where aliens like kind of landed on New York City?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good times. Like, unless it's like catastrophic or something, but
Yeah, like an alien invasion, then people would care. And even then, like after like 4 months of war, it's like war fatigue will kick in, and people will be like, "This is just life now."
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh right, I forgot to turn off the AC since we're recording.
Honestly, I didn't even notice anything in the background, but
I think it only comes on when I speak. That's why. Because it opens up the mic.
Maybe, but yeah. So it's basically, so there's like people have theories of it's like, okay, why haven't we found alien life yet if it exists? So it's like, okay, there's these different problems. So there's the first one is the rare earth. Basically, we're unique. The rare earth hypothesis argues that planets with complex life like Earth are extremely rare, and intelligent extraterrestrial life is highly improbable. Hence, we're one of a kind. And this is kind of true because we've seen other galaxies and things like that where they have like habitable planets, but they're so impossibly far away. Like that's another problem. How everything's just so impossibly far away. By the time we got here, it would we'd be dead basically. Like what if they're already on the way here? We'd
Also,
be
we
dead.
wouldn't be able to see it. We're looking into that planet's past technically because light takes so long to
Very
get
true.
to.
Exactly.
That we
That's
don't
so
know
true.
if there's currently life on that planet because we're looking at it like a million years ago, and it's like a million years ago humans didn't really exist.
Mm,
We've been around for like a couple thousand years,
that's the trip.
100,000.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think people should really give a fuck about space, to be honest.
Why?
Because, like, yeah, it's interesting, but like, it's not going to change anything. Exactly like aliens, like, it's not going to change anything.
No, you don't know that because remember, you can get resources from other planets that could then help us. Like there's like a helium shortage. There's like a bunch of different problems. You could mine water from clean water from like
Yeah, okay.
asteroids and things like that.
I get that, yeah.
resources
But,
on
like-
Earth, in space are kind of tricky because you need to make settlements to recuperate those resources, right?
Mhm.
And because no nation can technically
Clean.
own any resources from space because of their whole treaty and stuff, companies will basically create autocracies over there. They'll basically be kings, literally. Well, we're bringing back feudalism, essentially.
yeah,
which-
but normal people shouldn't give a fuck about space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Honestly, in the long run, normal people should be like worrying more about like, hey guys, how about we fix the resources and the problems here on Earth before all the rich people fuck off and then the Earth burns or
we
whatever.
must die.
Because remember, they're already selling spots for
Mhm.
the moon. Oh, where is it? Let me see.
You technically can't own any part of the moon. Like
Yeah.
that's why I love that business model because it's legal and it's a scam at the same time. It's
I'll
like
be back in like 10 minutes, guys.
10 minutes? All right.
Yeah, all right, bye.
All right. Well,
All
I was
right.
gonna say, space tourism company is selling trips to the moon for $750 million each. So it's like that's just a rich person. That's almost $1 billion, dude. That's $750 million. That's just rich people shit right there. Rich
like
people problems.
1%.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? This is an article from 2012, and they're already talking about on the heels of SpaceX's vision of a human colony on Mars. That's hilarious. But
That's insane.
Newt Gingrich, let's build a moon base by 2021. Sorry,
Yeah.
Newt. It's been 9 years and nope, we still.
There's a
don't
reason
have
why
stuff.
like rich people are so adamant about going to space. And yes, it's a good endeavor and all, but really at the heart of it is because they don't want to fix things here. Like it's not in their vested interest to fix things here because this is how
It's not.
this is the system that made them rich. So they'd rather fuck off and avoid the problems that they ended up causing here by generating their wealth.
Mhm.
Like, they don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
Not to mention that technically speaking, without like the reason rich people are going to be able to own land on other planets is because they can hire people to enforce their rules by paying them. They're just like, here, all of you, go and kill these people that aren't listening.
Exactly. Or they'll be like, hey, you know what? You guys work for us. We're gonna have to sell you the oxygen or stuff like that. Like remember in Doctor Who where they were like they just couldn't afford the oxygen, that's why they died, and they're like, wait, what's going on here? And it's like, oh yeah, they couldn't afford to be paid, so they just turned off their oxygen. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But
Oh, fucking hell, dude.
capitalism in space.
Yeah, that doesn't no.
Yeah.
Like or like you see like the foundations of what sort of system that they're going to create over there in space here in America and like old-timey America during like the Gilded Age, where a lot of like company bosses had towns, like company towns,
Mhm.
where like, oh, the government paid the company paid your salary. You bought food from the company store.
Mhm.
You bought utilities from the company store. You took a shit, you used the company's plumbing, and water and all of that. And all of those failed, all of them, because capitalism doesn't make for a good system of governance.
Mm-hmm.
It barely makes for a decent economy.
Because honestly, like, what happened when all the companies move out of the towns and things like that? The towns die. That's why that happened. Can't have shit in Detroit. It's literally the thing about.
So, some towns die without the companies leaving them, because what if it's costing more to keep the citizens there than it is to do that? They're just gonna cut their losses and run. They're not even gonna leave the water running because it's gonna cost them money. The exit barriers are just so high that they're just gonna say fuck it and just let it rot.
Honestly, but
It's insane.
because okay, Detroit was literally the motor city because it had the big three. It had Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler at the time. So they were literally the most successful auto manufacturers in the US and around the world. And in Detroit, it was like amazing because everyone was like, "Hey, it's the industry is booming. It's the second industrial revolution. You know, we're making cars. We've got everything." But once they realize it's cheaper to just okay, we'll outsource to China, and then everything just collapses. That's why, dude. Like, I know we're going back to houses, but you can literally see houses in Detroit are dirt cheap because no one wants to live there because it's just there's poverty everywhere. And let me see, Detroit, Michigan, crime statistics. Literally, with a crime rate of 62 per 1,000 residents, it has one of the highest crime rates in America compared to all communities of all sizes. One's chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime here in Detroit is 1 in 16, which means they'll break into your car, they'll go into your house, or you might get stabbed or something. And it's
Or they'll steal your stairs. There was like that one video where like a lady came out to like leave her house for work, and just her stairs to go to into her house were just gone. It was just ripped straight off of the porch. It was fucking crazy.
100, sorry. Yeah, well, I already kind of gave it away, but $160,000 for a 10-bedroom, 7-bathroom house, 4,500 square feet. And the first line is cash only. Cash only, because they're like, you have to buy out the property basically outright. It looks really nice, but it looks like, I mean, it looks like a huge old place basically. But yeah, and there's people already in there. Originally purposed as room and board for the big three. What did I just say? Literally
Like,
room and board for people who are working in factories.
Anyone who thinks that capitalism serves for like a good system of governance or even like a good all-purpose thing should really look up Pullman's like company town. Like, go ahead and look it up right now. Like, that shit is fucking disgusting what went down there. It's just completely awful. So many people like lost so much just because of that. It's awful.
The Pullman Car Company, blah, blah.
Kevin, go ahead, pull that up on the screen.
Let's see. The end of Pullman. Or, well, because this is showing a lot of lightweight cars.
It's one word, by the way, Pullman.
I'm trying to find it. A brief overview of the Pullman story. And then just really quick with Detroit again. $2,500 for a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, $2,130. But it's just a piece of shit. Like, it's all broken down and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's just awful.
There's just so many broken down houses and abandoned places because people just leave. They don't like. It doesn't matter. $10,000 for a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. It's all broken down and shit. But people are just not staying there. It doesn't make any sense for them because there's nothing there for them anymore. You know, as much as you want to be like, well, what if we put like restaurants or what if we put stuff like that? It's like it's not enough.
Nothing's gonna bring because like so much wealth was extracted from there when the companies failed that there's just you have to
rip
pull
out the heart. That's it.
You have to basically start new. You have to not just reinvigorate it, but return wealth back to the community in some sort of way. Usually it's by like funding a lot of public education and a lot of the people and just giving jobs to people that companies might just consider unqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's gonna, they're gonna spend money there. You have to basically try to overturn the downward spiral that those companies caused upon their failure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's just not easy because a lot of that just entails giving money to people, just giving. And a lot of people say like, oh, but they don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want to have this location that might have a lot of wealth in it, but you're not investing it, or do you care more about giving money to people who you consider might not deserve it, especially since most of those people didn't become like that through fault of their own. It was those companies failing. It was capitalism failing them rather than them failing capitalism. And it's like, who should bear the brunt of the blame for that situation? The people that live there who were just born into that city, or the companies that decided to fail?
But also remember, the people moved there in the first place because of the promise of the company doing well. So
Yeah.
if the company can't keep on its promise, obviously when they just fuck off and they're like, okay, fine, whatever, we'll sell our stuff. We don't care.
Yeah.
We'll just move somewhere else. And then the people are like, hello, like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, we're just going to sit here and starve, I guess, because there's nothing like metropolitan, like there's nothing in here. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I
Like,
don't
and
know.
then as more companies, big companies failing in an area leads to other smaller companies failing, which leads to other smaller companies failing, which, because the less money that there is to spend, the less the system works. Capitalism is a system that intrinsically relies on people spending a whole lot of money to buy into the system. When the companies fail, the companies providing that income fail, well, it causes everything to collapse because now people don't have money to spend.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this is economics 101, which is why I believe that a lot of like high level like economists and stuff that advocate against like spending money, against people spending money, or things that would inevitably lead to people spending money, aren't really talking about the economic side of things and are talking about the political side of things, which should be two completely different worlds to an extent. Like in a Venn diagram, where they should overlap should only be about that much. Like, and
Barely
that's just
anything.
regulate the companies so that they don't abuse their power, and so that individuals don't abuse the companies either. It's like to keep things balanced.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
like,
crazy.
do you know what? Like, okay, this is the one time I will take Tesla's side on things. It's like, do you know like dealerships essentially have monopolies over their own districts?
What do you mean?
Legally speaking, because Tesla can't sell its automobiles by itself. It has to partner with a dealership to sell its automobiles, and they didn't want to do that because that increases the cost of the car. And since it's already pretty pricey, they don't want to exclude certain customers that would be able to buy. So they tried to circumvent it and try to set up their own dealership where they could sell Teslas. And a lot of those dealerships had to be shut down early on because dealerships that sell cars, like say from Toyota, have monopolies over the region where they exist to an extent, and they could be passed down to sons like dynasties. So really, realistically speaking, until a dealership inevitably fails, no other dealership can set up shop in their area. And Texas has this even worse, where Tesla couldn't even do online orders in Texas because that's how they circumvented a lot of those laws, by just selling online. But they can't even, they're basically barred from entering Texas in any sort of way because they can't set up dealerships because, dealerships already have their regions, and they can't sell online because as soon as they started doing that, the dealership lobby started being Texas, hey, cut this out. And so they did. And Tesla can't even sell online to Texans. Texans have to go outside of the state.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. This is the one time that I'll take Tesla's side. One of the few times, because it's dude.
Damn.
It's fucking awful. Those, because they really do have essentially like monopolies. Like they have the power of like electric companies that are like marginalized power, but they're not regulated like electricity companies. So they essentially do whatever the fuck they want, and that's part of the reason why car prices are so high when you buy them new. That's part of the reason why they lose 30% of their value when you drive it off the lot.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah. Like, and technically speaking, and part of the reason for this is because they acted like how they did the same thing that prisons did, which is they were able to lobby well enough to have governments sign contracts with them. So if the government can't really step in and break apart their monopolies, because doing so would be a violation of the contracts that they've signed. And in that case, the government would need to pay out like millions, or I think in some cases billions of dollars to them. So it's more beneficial for it's same thing with prisons. Like if prisons aren't at a certain capacity, the government has to pay out like millions of dollars. So they're incentivized to keep people in there for as long as possible. And it's a similar situation with the dealerships, where they can't enact laws to break apart the monopoly, because then they'd be, in the hole for like millions.
That's crazy, though. But I mean, well, it's still
Your third. That's
money.
Crazy though, and I keep talking about it.
No. But I'm serious. It's like that's actually insane. It's not like oh, that's crazy. So anyway, no. But it's like no, that's actually like
yeah.
Fuck.
Like
what are we supposed to do at this point? Like
we can't do anything unless you have millions of dollars to lobby like officials to try to get them to renegotiate the contracts, or to, once the contract ends, to remove those laws and not renew them. You can't really do anything. because those contracts are already set. Some of them are set for like 99 years.
Mm-hmm.
We'll all be long dead by the time those contracts are up. So we'll never see it. And who knows if, you know, Tesla will still be around or another car company will still be around by the time those contracts are up.
Dude, Tesla's going to be around forever. Fucking Elon Musk is going to find a way to put his brain in a computer, and then he's going to be like, I'm the first cyborg billionaire or something, you know, like.
And I have infinite reign over my company. It's
exactly. Like if anyone's going to find a way.
Private.
Huh?
That's kind of why he wants to take Tesla private. He wants to take it off the stock market. Said no, he has a complete control over his company. And honestly, that's kind of smart because of like the particular stage of his company is like he used the stock market to build up capital. And now that he's, you know, made it moderately successful, I think they had their first profitable quarter last year.
Did they actually?
They made like 10 million on 520 millions in sales. So he's like, okay, I've already used the stock market for this purpose. Now I want full control over my company.
But how's he gonna like? Does he have to pay out everyone if he makes it private, or?
Yeah,
that's gonna be a lot of money though, because there's a huge market cap on.
He's gonna drop the market cap by a lot by taking it out. But I think he sees that it's worth it in the long run because he gets complete control over his company. He gets to act like a king.
He doesn't have a board of directors or anything?
He does right now because of the stock market. But once he buys it out.
But I was gonna say, wouldn't the board of directors stop him from making it go private? Because they have a say too.
Technically, as long as he has majority stock in the company, they can't stop him. If he has the lion's share, yeah. Huh. Even if they all voted against him,
even if he's at 51%, that 1% is still gonna be. That's crazy. Huh.
I don't know if he currently has the 51%, but if he starts, you know, buying up, you know, stocks here, stocks there, you know, to sell your stocks because he's gonna take it private, and you're gonna lose all your money.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Oh, can't make it? Oh, too busy. Okay. We'll try next week.
Yeah.
Well, so that was Mark Normand, and fortunately he's too busy this week, so we'll have to skip over his interview for this week, and hopefully he'll be back next week, but we'll keep it in the title.
Oh, shit, it's been an hour.
No, it's been 30 minutes, but yeah, it's been 30 minutes, but I'm like 36 minutes, but I'm like, we'll keep it in the title. Make sure to put him in the thumbnail too.
So oh, dude, full clickbait. Draw like a giant red circle with an arrow pointed at
us going. Okay, wait, we have to make stupid faces. Hurry. Okay, so you have to look at this way. Wait, am I on? Yeah, that way. You have to look that way. So, okay, ready? We have to make like the surprise faces for the thumbnail. Ready? All right, perfect. That we're gonna use that as a thumbnail. Perfect.
That's so stupid.
That's amazing. It's gonna be Mark Normand in the middle, go like thumbs up or something. All right,
dude. Because of how slow I edit the podcast, you know, it'd be hilarious if in like a month, we actually get Mark Normand on the podcast, and I have to upload this one before that, and he just sees it like, oh, this is the thing. And it's like, no, it's not.
Honestly, hey, at least with school though, you'll finally be able to finish all the other ones.
Fucking shit!
Honestly,
finally,
dude,
yeah.
You're done with school. No more like it's so good never having. I legit though I had like nightmares for like the first like a month afterwards of like not nightmares but like you know I dreamed that like they're like, hey, so you didn't finish a project, so you actually got a D in the class, you have to go back, and I'd be like, no, and then I wake up and I'm like, no, I have my degree. It's done. It's all set in stone.
You know, if someone could kill me right now, I don't have to worry about that. You know, it's fine.
If lightning just struck me, you know, I'd be like,
yeah.
Okay.
If an intruder broke into my home, I'd go back to sleep.
And if Edward lives at a no, but so okay, so what do you think you would realistically do? How about this? If you win the lottery and you don't have to work anymore, like what do you think you would do?
Oh, I'd be doing this podcast forever, dude.
Honestly, like, just focus full time, play video games, get to watch stuff, just relax, work on yourself, not have to stress about customers and things like that anymore. Buy a house, and like honestly, I would buy a house just for like me, not I wouldn't want to rent out because I wouldn't have, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Oh, dude, totally. Like the only reason why I'm looking for a house where I can rent property is because I have
right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an investment right now. If I won the lottery and I didn't have to ever do that, I just buy a house for me. Not even a lot, you know. Okay, no, I've talked about this with my girlfriend a lot. You know what's my dream home? My dream home or my dream thing is to move to like Norway or one of those countries, like kind of like on the border. Buy a house, buy like a a 2-floor house
Two-story.
where the upper floor is like my room and like, you know, my bathroom and all that, my kitchen, and the bottom floor is like a cafe or like a bookstore, and I just run that. Not even for like the money. I just want to be able to like do something creative like that. That's like my dream. Like if everything in like the world was perfect, that'd be my dream thing. Or I just run a small cafe somewhere in like Iceland or like Norway or
in one of the Nordic
like,
countries.
in one of the Nordic countries,
It's funny.
and I just sell baguettes and fucking croissants and shit, like
That's
just
French.
pastries. I don't care. Like I just want to like sell pastries and like that's my like dream.
Just run a
And
little
then just
bakery and
play
cafe.
video games. Yeah, and then just like without having to worry about the expenses or the profit or losses, just sell those for a couple of hours a day. Go to my room,
Chilling.
play video games, you know, talk to my girlfriend, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be like the life. And not have to deal with shit like this. Okay, so this is the perfect transition into my
Customers.
story. Customers,
Honestly?
because okay, these two customers, like they were pretty good customers, but they were fucking insane, dude. Like okay, it started out with like this couple, right? This guy and this girl came up to our store and they were but you know, like, oh, and like the guy was like, oh, this is a bit pricey, but you know, I'll be sure to buy some, but I have to wait for my paycheck. And so that they were starting to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were backing out. And these other customers that eventually became customers, but at the time they weren't. They were just random people at the CVS.
Mm-hmm.
Started fighting these people. Like this girl, like these two girls and the girlfriend of the guy started like just duking it out, like yelling, not like fisticuffs just yet. If we're getting to that part, they were just like, "You fucking whore, you like," and just like all this other stuff. And I had no idea what's going on, but they were yelling so loud, like they were almost a block away, and I could hear them. Not literally, they were in the parking lot, but they were a pretty good distance. And later on, when someone crossed the street, they were like, "Hey, do you know what that fight was about? That was happening here?"
You're like,
So they could hear them across the street, like literally. And this girl, fucking like fucking 4'2", like with glasses and shit, like was like attacking the vehicle, like of this of the couple. Like the couple eventually got fed up with it, and like the girl like went inside, and the guy was like, "Hey guys, calm down." Like the guy was actually being reasonable. He was like, "Hey, we're sorry we took your parking space," because it was about a parking space. Like that's the fight was over.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Hey, calm down. You know, we're taking off now. You can have the parking space. You know, our bad that we took it from you. We didn't even notice."
Mm-hmm.
And like the dude just sped away but this is the reason why he sped away, because when he went into his vehicle, when he thought everything was over, the fucking short girl fucking ran up and jumped onto the back of the car and started slamming the out window. And it was just out of nowhere. Cause I thought everything was over. So I started handling the customer again. I was like, "Yeah, sorry about that. You know, we don't know what's going on here, really."
When all of a sudden,
and I'm like, "Holy fuck, what fucking hell?" And at this point, I had no idea what it was about. I didn't know it was about the parking space. I just saw the dude like, "Hey," like say like, "Hey, calm down, you know, chill."
Mm-hmm.
My mom later told me, because she was closer to them and she was overhearing everything. And that happened. And then like later they were like, "Yeah, sorry." They were like, they came up to me, like the little girl, and because they were like buying lamps because they really liked it. And they were like, "Yeah, those guys were fucking assholes." And they were like, doing shit. And I'm like, yeah, some people are just kind of like that sometimes. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you fucking jumped onto the back of his car, then you called 911 when they were already gone, and the police had to show up, take your statement, and the ambulance, like the firefighter ambulance, showed up and like we're like, "Are you guys okay? Like, what's going on? Why the 911 call?" And I'm just like, how
People
much of a character can you be? Like, you called the police, like. Okay, and like because of recent events, I have to say the person was black, so I would not, like the guy that was just calming shit down, like I would not have wanted to been present if the cop showed up like when the black guy was still there, like because these people look kind of white. I don't know if they were white, but they look kind of white. So, I wouldn't have wanted to have been there when that whole thing happened, because that was kind of spooky, because the cops like showed up in like 3 seconds right after the black guy left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was just freaky. It was weird. Because that little girl, like because she wasn't a girl. She was like a full woman. She was like 24 or some shit.
Grown ass woman.
grown ass woman, just short, and she like beat the shit out of the windshield in the back when they were trying to speed away. And before that, she was like hitting the fucking door, and it's like, it's not that serious. It's a fucking parking space. And you know what makes this even more insane? Half of the parking lot was empty. Like she could have literally gone 3 feet and parked at another space.
Jesus.
It's like fucking customers, dude.
I was gonna say, why do people even do that? Honestly,
It's not worth. It's not worth.
not at all.
Dude, that shit had me stressed because it's like,
Yeah, you got people fighting in front of you. You got people paying for stuff. You got people trying to steal. Like, Jesus
fucking Christ, dude. And then we had to, people trying to figure out where we got our lamps, like trying to scope out, like, oh, where do you get your supplies? Like trying to start up their own thing. And so they're like, oh, trying to like, another thing to fucking worry about. It's like, oh, fuck. Okay. Fucking shit.
Oh, well.
Yeah. That was my story. Fuck customers.
Honestly.
Fuck customers, rich, fuck capitalism. You were hitting all the hallmarks of the Friday episode.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. Fuck customers. And I guess Walter had to go permanently.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it's Broke Till Friday podcast at gmail.com for your questions. Broke_till_Friday on Instagram. And yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have Mark Norman next week.
Yeah.
We're broke till Friday. Goodbye, my friends. We'll see you next week. Now I'ma go and beat my meat. And we're broke till Friday. Goodbye, my friends. We'll see you next week. And now I'ma go and beat my meat. And we're broke till Friday.